Greetings and welcome back to Doctor Who Revisited, where I go through every single episode of Doctor Who from 1963 all the way to 2024 and review them. And this next one is The Face of Evil. I'm gonna say this. While I don't think it's one of the great Doctor Who episodes of all time, I do think this is what I would call the quintessential Doctor Who type of story. And what I mean by that is that it's a narrative philosophy that I think the Philip Hinchcliffe era embodies the best, which of course translated perfectly well to other eras of Doctor Who and other showrunners. But I think Philip Hinchcliffe kind of hit the nail on the head, and this episode is I think the best example of it. There's probably previous examples of it, and definitely better examples after, but what I mean by the quintessential Doctor Who type of story is the idea that all is not quite as it appears to be. The episode starts, you kind of feel like you can tell where this is going. There's an ancient primitive tribe on some planet somewhere, and they have this weird archaic way of life, and the Doctor just happens to stumble on to that civilization. And then slowly certain things start to not exactly make sense, because apparently these race of savage humans, have highly advanced technology that they do not know exactly how to operate properly. And there's some weird, interesting gaps in their knowledge. Well, one of them clearly knows how to operate some of the machinery, but he doesn't know exactly how it works. And it's almost like they're praying to this weird technology and they worship it as gods. And the mystery just gets deeper and deeper the further you go into it, where you learn more and more about this savage tribe, the Savateam as they're called. And of course, we are kind of figuring things out almost at the same time as the Doctor. The Doctor, of course, is several steps ahead because, I mean, he's the Doctor. He's always thinking ahead of the audience, but he's really the first to notice that something is wrong, and he's really the first to put the finger on what exactly is wrong. And as we move forward in the episode, you start to notice that the preacher guy, the guy he's worshiping some sort of god who answers him with a voice that sounds strangely similar to the Doctor's voice. How did that happen? And even when the other people in the tribe, they see the Doctor, they immediately identify him as the evil one.
The evil one.
Well, nobody's perfect, but that's overstating it a little.
Apparently, in this weird, archaic law, a rule of law and society that they've established for themselves, the Doctor is some evil, wicked demon here to fight their god, essentially, Zoannan. And like I said, the further you go into the episode, the more details are revealed, and one of the episode cliffhangers literally ends on the face of the Doctor edged into a cliff face. The effect could have been done better, I admit, but that's the ending of one of the episodes. The ominous cliffhanger that, like, no, the Doctor is the one that everyone is worshipping as a god, and he's also somehow at the same time the devil. Weird how these things go together so well, but yeah. So apparently, at some point, the Doctor must have landed on that planet somewhere, and clearly left an impression. Not necessarily a good one, and this is a type of thing that has been replicated and redone all throughout Doctor Who, of the Doctor and other companions being worshipped as gods. It was especially prominent during the modern series, particularly with the Stephen Moffat and Russell T Davies era. But I think the Philip Hinchcliffe is really the where it started it all, the one that started it all, the one where it all kind of stemmed from this particular era of Doctor Who. And you know what? I love stories like that. I love stories where, first of all, that show us how a highly advanced society, even a human society, can so easily devolve into primitive worshippers. We saw that a couple of times already during the John Pertwee era. We saw it on Xarius in Colony in Space. We saw it again on Exelon with the city of the Death to the Daleks, and now we're seeing it happening to humans. And you know what? This is absolutely something that could still happen today to this modern human society. We think we're all so advanced and really really clever, and we'll never be reduced to barbarism. Guess what? It can still happen if we're not careful. And the more, again, like I said, the more you watch the episode, the more you venture forward, the more the picture starts to look clear, because we learn very very early on that the Sava team are essentially fighting against the Tesh. And who are the Sava team and the Tesh? Well, they're just distorted versions, and or rather the descendants of the survey team and the technicians. And we see how these two races took a completely different turn from one another. Both essentially being humans, both essentially landing from the same colony spaceship, but then, divulging into two completely different races almost, where the Seven team are the more savage, barbaric, superstitious lot, and the Tesh are these highly advanced psychic people almost. In many ways, it kind of reminds me of The Time Machine by H.G. Wells with the Eli and the Morlocks. And in many ways, it also kind of reminds me of Planet of the Apes, specifically the old original Planet of the Apes movies, and particularly with Beneath the Planet of the Apes, with the psychic humans who live underground in the ruins of New York City, worshipping a giant bomb, nuclear bomb, the Alpha Omega bomb, to be more specific. And in a way, kind of the Civic team are the apes on the planet. But yeah, so again, I love types of stories like that remind us how quickly and how easily civilization and society can fall down the wayside, and we need to be cognizant of that. But all that being said, there is one thing I've kind of been avoiding talking about with regards to this episode, and it's something that you kind of have to address at some point. Leela, the new companion, the replacement to Sarah Jane Smith. Yeah, very elephant in the room there. I'll just say this: I love Leela's character, and it has nothing to do with the way she dresses. It has nothing to do with her temperament. I just think she's legitimately a great Doctor Who companion and a great character. And I'll remind you all that Leela's legacy in Doctor Who spans far beyond just the scantily dress attire that she wears throughout the majority of her time on the show. Remember, she is a very prominent member of the Gallifrey series on Big Finish, and she's a huge driving force and one of the main reasons why that series was so successful. And you know what? She's had great character development over the years, over her many appearances. But we're talking about her on the show, even in this episode. Clearly, right from the start, they're setting her up as a really great character. Yes, the way she dresses is a big part of why she was so liked by so many people. But from the start, from like her first scene, clearly she's not like the other Savage team. She's not like the Savages. She's smart. She's different. She's unique. She's exactly what a Doctor Who companion should be, and what the bestest companions aspire to be. She was literally kicked out of her tribe for being too smart. She's not just a pretty face, and you know what? She will kick your ass if you get on her nerves, and good on her for that. And you know what? Even after she was banished, she can easily survive on her own. She can hold her own. She's a warrior. She's a fighter. She's a badass, and she's exactly what Doctor Who companions should be: tough, can stand on their own 2 feet, and highly intelligent. And yes, I suppose, in a way, very good to look at. I suppose that is also a factor, but I think that her and the Doctor just get on like a house on fire immediately. They instantly just have this connection with one another. They just click, even though initially she's afraid of him because he's got the face of the evil one or whatever. She's smart enough to know that all those stupid superstitions and legends she's been told about when she was a little kid are not true. And she immediately teams up with the Doctor and she helps the Doctor. And she even saves the Doctor on a number of occasions throughout the episode. And she's got this drive to know more, to learn, to rise above what her society had in store for her immediately. And again, like I said, these are all the great qualities and traits that make up a great Doctor Who companion. So I reiterate, I love Leela. I absolutely adore this character. Louise Jameson is one of the greatest contributors to Doctor Who, and I'm so glad we got so many other great episodes with Leela to watch now, and so many good stories with Louise Jameson as Leela on Big Finish. As far as the villain goes, Zoannan, it's pretty terrifying when you think about it. A sentient living computer with schizophrenia that essentially becomes a god and a devil figure. I mean, when you really think about it, it's kind of like V'ger. I think that's the name of the main villain from Star Trek motion picture. You know, the satellite that gained intelligence and just became a big mage, an actual sentient villain. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that movie for good reason, obviously. But it's that same trope done in Doctor Who, and it is terrifying. And the end scene of, I believe, episode 3, the cliffhanger of just Zoannan the computer screaming because it's having an identity crisis. It doesn't know who it is, what it's supposed to be, and it's just yelling at the Doctor, "Who am I? Who am I?" So yeah, I think for the first time I watched this really sent chills down my spine. This terrified me to the bone, and choosing to end it on that note was very very effective. If the intention was to scare us, I think it well, more than did its job. It's very reminiscent. I mentioned Planet of the Apes earlier. The ending of Escape from the Planet of the Apes, when Baby Caesar starts talking, and yes, it's ridiculous. It's a product of its time. Clearly, they filmed that tiny baby chimpanzee and then just played that whole thing on a loop with him just going "Mama, Mama, Mama, Mama." So yeah, it worked. It had the desired effect, I believe, and yeah, so did Zoannan. So yeah, I love the set design. I love the way the planet looks, especially in the Tesh area. But yeah, I can't wait to get to see more adventures with the Fourth Doctor and Leela. I've always said that Sarah Jane is my favorite all-time companion. I think Leela might be my favorite Fourth Doctor companion specifically. Joe Grant being my favorite Third Doctor companion specifically. Sarah Jane, favorite all-time companion. So yeah, great times with Leela, and yeah, we'll see you next time for more Doctor Who and Leela stories. Goodbye for now. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Hi there. Thank you for watching the video. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends. I'll see you next time.